G'day guys, Uncle Wayno here, and I'm going to show you my top 8 categories / genres of Australian DVDs to sell on eBay. Now, if you want to get into selling DVDs, it's actually a really hard category to get into if you don't know much about it, because there is just so many to go through. It's a bit like books, but you've got to start somewhere, and I actually think Australian DVDs is a really good place to start because we live in Australia, so there are quite a few Australian DVDs floating around. If you're not normally a DVD seller, but if you go into op shops and garage sales, nearly every single one has a DVD section. Pretty much every op shop has a DVD section, and nearly every garage sale has DVDs for sale. And quite often you can pick up some really good Australian stuff really cheap. Now, first off, I'm going to start with a couple of cheapies. Obviously, not all Australian stuff is worth money. Stuff like The Dish, The Castle, Crackerjack, Kenny, stuff like that are never going to be worth picking up. They sell for a couple of bucks each. But there are always exceptions to the rule, and I have two here. I listed these last night, and the Wannabes actually sold straight away. Within a couple of hours, sold for 15 bucks. And Chopper, I listed this, but it hasn't sold yet, but I've sold quite a few of these in the past for between 12 to 15 bucks, and this one sold for 15 bucks. I've sold about 3 or 4 of these in the last few months. So they always go really quickly, so they're worth picking up even though they don't go for heaps of money. Next up, we've got mini-series. There's quite a few Australian mini-series floating around. You just have to look for them. A lot of them are on ABC DVD or SVS DVD. So if you see those little symbols on the DVDs, just have a quick look. And you can also have a look to see what kind of actors are in there. Usually they've got the same sort of actors in them, Sigrid Thornton and these sort of people. Here's a couple here that I've sold recently, the Dirtwater Dynasty. I picked this up in one of my videos a few weeks ago, and it sold within a few days for $45. Really quick sell. I'd never actually heard of it before I found it. It's got Hugo Weaving in it. That's the thing that made me prick my ears up straight away, because he's such a great actor and everyone loves him. But that went really quickly. The other one here, The Return to Eden, I've sold this a few times. There's actually 2 series. There's an original mini series, and then there's a TV series, and they both go for about 80 bucks each. So if you ever see them, I've sold them a few times myself. If you ever see them, pick them up. One day, just randomly, some lady in my town put the Return to Eden TV series up on Facebook Marketplace for $8. She didn't list any other DVDs or anything, just that for $8. So I messaged her and I said, I'll take it. And I brought it home, and within a couple of days I had 80 bucks in my pocket. 70s movies. Now, these ones are a bit harder because a lot of us aren't that old, so they're not very familiar to us. But if you do see them, look out for them. Jack Thompson's actually in quite a few of them. We've got Eliza Fraser, Stork, and End Play here. I've sold all of these in the past, plus a whole bunch of other 70s Australian movies, and they always get good money, between your $25 to $50 each. Next up here, we've got sketch comedy. Some of the old Australian classic sketch comedy like Fast Forward, Comedy Company, Paul Hogan. Some of this stuff is really funny if you go back to watch it. Some of it's also very cringeworthy and not funny at all, which is funny in itself. But some of this stuff can go for quite a bit of money. It wasn't mass produced back in the day, so there's not much of it around. There's other stuff as well, like some of the McAuliffe stuff that can sell. If you get them in bundles, you can get pretty good money out of them as well. So look out for the old Australian classic sketch stuff. Next up, we've got kids' DVDs, and some of these are going for absolutely stupid money. The Wiggles and High Five. A lot of them aren't worth money, but you can bundle them up and sell them as a lot and still get good money out of them. So if you ever see Wiggles or High Five DVDs, always look them up. I actually didn't even know about this until recently. I knew they were going for money and I could sell them, but I never come across any that were actually worth heaps of money. And I do have a pile down at my feet that I haven't looked through yet, so hopefully there's a couple in there. But yeah, it seems to be the ones with the original cast members seem to be going for a lot more than the others. Next up, we've got music. I'll just do this one really quickly. It's mainly old classic Aussie rock stuff that will do all right. I've got this countdown that I picked up the other day. It hasn't sold yet, but they sell for, I've got mine up for 55 because there's actually a couple up cheaper, but they have recently sold for around $70 to $80. And then I've sold this Screaming Jets DVD not long ago. It actually sold internationally. But yeah, any Australian classic Aussie rock from the 80s and 90s, just look them up. A lot of them aren't worth money, but some of them actually are. Now, TV series, now some of these can go for really good coin. If you get the complete sets, you can get upwards of over $500 to $1,000 for some of these sets. Some I'll just pick out some of the ones that are actually a bit more common that I've come across myself: Blue Healers, McLeod's Daughters, Sea Patrol, Mother and Son, and Sea Change. They're all the ones that I sort of have found on the semi-regular out at op shops and garage sales. Now, there are a few others that go for quite a bit of money, and I've never come across them out in the wild. But if you do see them, obviously you're going to pick them up after you have a look at these comps, because they're ridiculous. A Country Practice, Cop Shop. I've never even heard of Cop Shop. I just found this while I was researching for this episode. Stingers, the Sullivans, these sort of ones. These are all going for like over 500 for the complete sets. And it should also say that I'm only showing comps for complete sets, but for all of these TV series, if you find just a single season, you can usually get between $30 to $80, depending on which show it is. The Blue Healers seasons, for instance, the earlier seasons, you might get 30, 25, 30 for them, and the later seasons, you'll probably get 60, 70, 80 for them. So always look out for them, even if they're just single seasons. A lot of these shows are your 80s and 90s Australian TV shows. Again, they weren't mass produced, so there's not a ton of them around, and there is a ton of people that grew up with those shows and they just want to watch them again, and they can't. There are also a whole bunch of other Australian shows that I haven't even mentioned. Water Rats is one, for instance. Ocean Girl is another one. There's tons of them. Just do some research. All you have to do is Google list Australian TV shows, and there'll be a Wikipedia page or something with 90s Australian TV shows, and you can go through and have a look, and you can look a few of them up on eBay if you want and see what they're going for. Now, I've saved this category for last because it's actually my favourite. I was born in 1980, so I grew up in the 90s, and I was a big movie buff. I actually worked at Video Easy, and there was a lot of great Australian movies made in the 90s, but they were never mass produced. So there's not many of them around these days, and some of them can go for quite a bit of money, and a lot of them are really great movies. So I'll chuck a few of them up here. True Love and Chaos I recently sold for $80, $80 or $90. I can't remember the comps there anyway. There's a whole bunch of other ones. Head On, All Men Are Liars, The Postcard Bandit. One of my favourite movies of all time, Idiot Box, with Ben Mendelsohn. I absolutely love Ben Mendelsohn. He's one of the greatest actors ever. And Idiot Box is absolutely hilarious. A bloody great movie.
5 long legs and a stabby.
Righto. VB's in.
Hey, why don't we get someone else?
We always get vitamin B's.
No, exactly. So why don't we get something different?
What for?
For a change?
What for?
I don't know, for a change.
You just let me know when you've made up your mind, all right?
Oh, I'll get the VBs.
No, mate, if you want to get
We'll get the VBs.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's what I wanted to get in the first place.
All these sort of 90s movies, these can go for really good money. A lot of them are going for between $60 and $80 each. So if you see them out there, definitely pick them up. If you're not sure, the best way to learn is just look up on Google, just Google list Australian movies 90s, and you will find a Wikipedia page that will have 1990, 91, 92, 93, and it will have a list of all Australian movies that came out in those years, and you can just look them up on eBay and you can see what they're going for, and then next time you're out at the op shop, you're having a quick scan through the DVD section and you see Idiot Boxes sitting there for $2, and you are, thank you very much, there's $80 in my pocket. So that's it, guys. I hope that helps you find a couple of Australian bangers when you're out op shopping and garage sailing and all that jazz. And if I have missed anything that you have sold previously or you know of, please drop a comment below because I'd love to hear about it. This list is pretty much just from my own experience. So there's probably a bunch of stuff that I haven't even heard of that is worth money. So yeah, drop a comment. I'd love to hear about it. And also, I'm just starting with this channel. I'm only on my 6th video, something like that. So if you could like and subscribe, that'd help me out heaps. A lot of people don't realize how much it actually helps to build a channel, just to like and subscribe. All you got to do, it takes you half a second to click the button. And a big thank you to all the people that have supported me so far. I've got some great friends and family that have supported me, and I've just started to get some eyes on my content in the reseller community, which is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. I think I've got a lot of knowledge where I can help people out, and I've got quite a few ideas of videos to come of stuff that I haven't seen other YouTubers do. So please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me, and I'll see you on the next one. I mean, I've got a cold, but it's not that bad.